Okay, today we're gonna analyze AMD's roadmap to eventually defeat Nvidia in the GPU race, in the AI race. I hope you're ready for the ride and for the game plan they have. Let's go. Yes, and here I have a little presentation for you about the roadmap. And to start here, we have the upcoming AI chips from AMD, and it's a good way to start with this because this is the roadmap until 2027, where most money is, and it's the data center, the AI data center area, where, for example, Nvidia latest quarter had $41 billion in revenue. So here we have great opportunity for AMD if they can close in on Nvidia and perform. So they launched MI325X during 2024 and with great success, and MI350 and 355 with the CDNA for architecture are dropping in 2025 at the moment, and that is a bit of a leap in performance. And for 2026 we have the MI400, and that's a whole rack scale system and making you use of a lot of the acquisitions that AMD has done, and I will show you later on all the companies they have bought, and you will be amazed how many it is, and I will explain why they have bought those companies. So we already see a 4.2x performance as of 2025 since the MI300X, which is the data center they talk about a lot during earnings call, etc., because that has been the most sold data center GPU chip from AMD through the EPIC series, and it's actually 20% better on inference workloads than NVIDIA's GB200 as of 2025, which is very impressive. But I will not get stuck here on the first slide. I will continue. So the thing you should look forward to 2026 is the rack scale AI system. So this is AMD's answer to NVIDIA's Turkney solutions. So through the MI400 series, they will have up to 128 GPUs in their solutions here, AMD, and this will be 10x faster than the MI300, and this is reaching 20 PFLOPS and FP4 per GPU. So it's so much faster than the previous products, and this is getting very very satisfying and interesting for big companies like Microsoft or Oracle, Meta, etc. Some of the biggest customer that AMD has, and all of the customers we have heard them speak also OpenAI. So these customers are saying that they really look forward to being able to be more diverse in their approach to GPUs. They don't just want to be locked in on NVIDIA. They want to have different types of GPUs depending on what they do, and also being able to put a bit pressure on the prices that NVIDIA are putting out there, and also having the possibility of a race between AMD and NVIDIA is good for everyone because they will push the limits of innovation and products, and prices will obviously be more feasible for other companies if there are some companies that are pushing for the same type of market space. We also have a memory bandwidth of 19.6 terabyte per second for this upcoming solution, MI400 series, and that is actually better than the NVIDIA's Rubin model. We think it will be better at least, and that's very interesting. And the leaps that AMD are doing already to 2026 are tremendous, and I don't think people really catch up how close they are now in many aspects to NVIDIA, and just being able to be on par with NVIDIA and even better in different areas are very, 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 very impressive. And I just want to congratulations to Lisa Su and her employees, because they have done a tremendous job here. I can just see the execution overall. Also, they have a high-speed Ethernet solution here. Obviously, they need to compete with the NV-Link that Nvidia has, and they need to have a fast connectivity between the GPUs. So AMD has that, working on that at the moment, with a lot of acquisitions and open source solutions, trying to innovate fast and being able to compete through that with Nvidia. As you know, Nvidia are very, very good at interconnectivity solutions between the GPUs. So that is something that will be hard for AMD, but they are getting a lot better. They also claims here, AMD, that they have 40% more tokens per dollars than the Blackwell B200. So obviously, when we hear CEOs from big companies like Microsoft, for example, speak, they want to have the tokens per dollar. They want a lot of GPU power for the dollar they spend, and they also want to have efficient solutions that are energy efficient, and that is something that Lisa Su also has talked about, how energy efficient the solutions of AMD is. So as a shareholder, that is very interesting to see that they are already competing with Blackwell, and sure, Blackwell are coming during 2025 and has a head start. But seeing the pace that AMD are innovating and already having such a great product that are, in some cases, a lot better than the Blackwell 200 series as of 2026, is good news for AMD. I think NVIDIA wants their solutions that they are putting out there now to be used for many years going forward, and to lock in the customers in their ecosystems with their CUDA software, etc. So having AMD just innovate and producing really, really great products on par in terms of performance, but cheaper, that's not the news that NVIDIA wants to hear, I think. So for Nvidia, they bet on like a closed ecosystem. You lock in the customers with Nvidia, similar to how Apple works with their products, while AMD are more going for the open ecosystem approach. We heard a lot of companies praising this approach, and we will see long term what will win. I guess it's kind of the same race that we had between Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, where Bill Gates opted for the more open ecosystem through Microsoft, and Steve Jobs has the more closed ecosystem with Apple products. So it's both are good and bad through, depending on what lens you watch through. And also, now that AMD has the rack scale AI system coming 2026, very competitive products, vendors can choose. Obviously, they do not want to lock in only on NVIDIA. They want to competition. This is very obvious. You can just try to watch the whole thing through the eyes of a CEO of a big company. You don't want to spend too much money on the capex. You want to have as much as you can. It's not like you just want, oh, I want just Nvidia to win here. You are doing the best for your own company, so to speak. I would say this is the AMD versus Intel saga all over again. At least that's how AMD wants it all to pan out. So the story with Intel was that by 2016, Intel was the big leader in the CPU market. So here between AMD and Nvidia, we're talking about the GPU market, the graphic processor units market, but this was the computer processor unit market, and Intel was the big leader. But now by 2025, AMD has the leadership. And how did they do that? How did they just leapfrog past Intel? Obviously, it's an underdog story. It's about relentless execution and a clear roadmap with the Zen, the core where they built it on was called Zen 1, Zen 2, Zen 3, Zen 4, Zen 5, yearly cadence of updates. And through this, they generated such a pace in innovation that Intel couldn't keep up. And obviously, Intel wanted to keep having profits where they already have, and lost sight of the performance leaps that AMD did. So if I compare that with sag with the situation with Nvidia. It's kind of the same, being Nvidia is the leader and AMD is playing catch-up game. And if AMD, they kind of mirroring the Zen playbook they did with the CPU when Intel was the leader. They are told us during the earnings call that they are going to have annual updates on the GPU roadmap. You can see the MI325, MI350, MI450, MI550, MI500, and MI400, etc. So they have that roadmap clear already and pushing forward with seemingly great success. So basically, they are once again focusing on leaps in efficiency. They are target cost per dollar, which is very important for the customers. So, for example, in GPU market, they beat Intel not just on raw performance, but also performance per dollar and performance per watt, making it energy efficient. And this is where they are going now in the GPU market. They're talking a lot about energy efficiency during the earnings call. They're talking a lot about performance per dollar, etc. So they are probably going to get a bit lower in the pricing compared to Nvidia, and that is something that I find similar to the AMD versus Intel story. They are, for example, some once they said that it's 40% more tokens per dollar compared to Blackwell with their upcoming GPU. So we will see if that pan out. Also, AMD once again focus on getting the software correctly with the ROCm ecosystem. Just the one thing in their portfolio that has improved the fastest is like the software side, because people who has followed AMD very close, especially like gamers, etc., know that AMD's software ecosystem has been quite bad. But from like 2023 going 2024 and 2025, the ROCm ecosystem has just exploded in quality and being very efficient and just getting better and better. And they have done a lot of acquisitions that are focused on this area, making it very, very very good, simply. Not Nvidia class yet, but they are trying to get closer. And having that open ecosystem, they can get the improvements very fast. And this was kind of how they did also with CPUs. When they got the ecosystem right of the software side, it just the snowball just kept running, and they just took more and more of the market. So during the Zen era, the CPU market and the Zen era, Zen 1, Zen 2, etc., the big players like Microsoft, etc., started to use the products of AMD. And later on, when they did see that the products were performing very good, they just kept buying. They built their customer trust, and it's the same now with the GPU chips. They started with the MI300, started to sell a lot of them. Then they have kept increasing the number of GPUs that has been sold to big companies like Oracle, Microsoft, Meta, etc. going forward. And they have like kind of for the MI350 as of 2025, we see that the companies CEOs of these companies like for example OpenAI, etc., are talking more and more about the potential of AMD's products and GPUs, and we have the fundamentals there ready for the MI400. I think the customer trust are getting really, really good. So if they can get the MI350 right as of 2025, we have an amazing story with the rack scale system 2026, where customers probably will trust AMD even more. And I think we can see some amazing jumps in revenue going forward. I'm very, very excited about this. So when you hear they talk about something called Epic and MI350, etc. Now we're talking about the most profitable products here that AMD has going for them, and the most important ones in terms of revenue and etc. So when they see Nvidia got over 70% in gross margin, as Nvidia has at the moment, they have obviously very high prices compared to their costs, so they can get a lot of net income from their production, etc. Compared to the production costs. So that often means that you might have a possibility to enter that market if you do it correctly, and you can grab some of the market, because if your competition are pricing their products very high because they are the leader. Intel did this also back in the days. Obviously, um, the customers will have an appetite for something a bit cheaper, especially if the performance of the product is almost as good or as good as the product that are very expensive. So this is where AMD sees a big opportunity to push and win market from AMD. Also here we have the generational leap in performance with the software that I talked about, the ROCm system, the ROCm 7 versus the ROCm 6, just to show you how much of an improvement they are doing fast here with their software. So if it's a 3.5x performance improvement just between two generations here. So just think about ROCm 8, ROCm 9. They are really pushing here to close in on NVIDIA fast, and you can see some tests here on Llama model, big language model from Facebook. Obviously, we have the DeepSeek and the Gwen also. So some amazing stats here. So I just wanted to show you there the leap in performance for the software side. That's very important. Also, I want to show you some important acquisitions that has positioned AMD where they are as of 2025 and how strategic they have been. Some of the acquisitions has been under the radar here, but they are actually very, very compelling acquisitions if you dive a bit deeper into it. But I will go through them quite fast, and if you are interested, just search up yourself what the companies did before joining AMD. So first we have the Silo AI. So that was one of Europe's largest private AI labs, very important for the integration with the large language models and everything that takes. So a lot of the biggest customers are doing a lot of inference training, etc., with large language models. So it's important to be strong there. They bought them also Node AI 2023 to improve their compiler automation. They bought Ampere AI 2025, and this brought them a lot of AI accelerator engineers, and obviously the human capital is very important when you are trying to improve your revenues and be in the forefront in terms of innovation. So grabbing those engineers might be a genius move here, depending on how good they performed for Ampere AI. But I trust Lisa Su and her colleagues in this area. So that is what I do as an investor here, and I think it's kind of genius because it's very expensive in the open market. You just go out there and find the correct people through the HR, the usual HR acquisition kind of play. Also, they bought Brian as of 2025. It's also for compiler and also AI inference optimization team. So that brings efficiency to Instinct accelerators. Very important for the areas that they are growing in, for the most important chips the GPUs that I showed you earlier. They bought Mipsology 2023 for speed of AI inference. AI inference is getting more and more and more important, so this is right on the spot. And also to improve ROCm, as you see, they're already getting a lot of it out of this acquisition. They also bought CT Systems. Maybe this is one of the few you heard about before. That was an AI factory systems for racks and clusters for hyperscalers. This is enabling AMD to push for the rack scale systems and clusters. They are going for 2026 with the MI400 product series. So this was a bit more of an expensive acquisition, but also right on the money based on the roadmap that I have explained for you. They bought NOSemi 2025. So you see a lot of new acquisitions here. This is a silicon photonics and CO package optics, and this is to be very competitive and understand the Ethernet and Internet and the GPU interconnectivity. You need to have real expertise in this area, and it's so important to have that fast connections going forward, especially when Nvidia is so good with their NVLink systems. So very strategic acquisition. And back in the days, 2020, they bought Xilinx for a lot of money. This was the FPGA adaptive compute play. So this is kind of has become a base for AMD's push into data center. Yeah, this might have held the stock price back for a while because AMD took on some debt here, but I think it has been really essential for the push here into artificial intelligence overall. So sure, maybe hold back the stock for a while, but you need to do sometimes some things before you get where you want to be. So now I think Xilinx is going to really be the most important acquisitions of everything here. And Yeah, very important one for AMD. And also they bought Pensando, that you might have heard of. That was a DPU slash data center kind of play, 2022, and going for networking, security, and storage, very important in the push into data centers. And overall, this is to boost AI, compiler tech, inference efficiency, and hardware software. Um, so just think about this: it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 new acquisitions, and the important thing for the leadership in AMD is getting everything here together and just push for the roadmap. And I can just see how every one of the acquisitions here are just lining up towards the roadmap that Lisa Su and her colleagues has put out there. And I can see similarities to how they did in the CPU market. And this is the kind of place that makes me feel comfortable in a company. I can see where they are going. I can see a system, how they are working and what they are looking for and why they do certain acquisitions. So this makes me very glad. So basically, they're building out AI ecosystems through partnership. They have the AWS, obviously the Amazon Cloud, and Cisco, Dell Technologies, Google Cloud, Microsoft, Azure, Lenovo, Hewlett Packard Enterprise, HPE, and we know OpenAI partnership are getting stronger. So this is a part of the play here to build out the partnership here to integrate themselves long term in the biggest players, and through that, obviously, they can be a very important player. So now the presentations are going towards the end, but I just want to talk about the leadership here with Lisa Su, and she basically projects an AI accelerator market, which is big part of the part of the AI market that are growing the fastest, to be $500 billion by 2028. And AMD is very well positioned in this specific AI market. And I mean, $500 billion is such a large amount of money compared to the revenue that AMD for a whole year has at the moment. So if they just perform quite good in that area, we have such a revenue gains incoming there. But as an investor, I don't want to be too offensive here, but a very great opportunity. And Lisa Su sees this opportunity and obviously don't want Nvidia to grab everything. So they are positioning AMD to grab a significant share here. Obviously, one of the play here for AMD to beat Nvidia is the open architecture. Obviously, Nvidia wants to lock in their customers, but by doing the open architecture, AMD wants to be more flexible long term and provide that type of opportunity and possibility for customers, and that is a certain play they are doing here to compete long term with Nvidia. So from chips to software and systems, we can say that what they have done with all the acquisitions that I showed you is becoming a company more similar to Nvidia in terms of having that CUDA plus system play with rack scale. So now AMD has a ROCm system software improving very fast. They have the rack scale system coming 2026. So they have like a product very similar and competitive to Nvidia's, and they are the only company in the world that has that type of product that are so close to Nvidia's solutions, even though obviously if you dive into the tech of it, you have some differences how they approach it, with where AMD are going for chip solutions that are a bit more heavy on the memory side, very good for inference training. Meanwhile, probably the generations 2026 and 2027 NVIDIA will probably be a little bit faster still, but they are they are better than Nvidia, or and are going to be in some areas already 2026. And just saying that and seeing how much of a market cap Nvidia has makes me really excited as a shareholder of AMD. They are focusing on network and interconnect, two areas where that has done so much for Nvidia, for example, and being good here is something they need to be if they want to compete and eventually defeat Nvidia, even though they don't have to defeat Nvidia to get a lot of higher market cap for the stock. If they are going to defeat them, they need to be very good on the network and interconnectivity side. And through the acquisitions of Pensando and Enosemi, they can actually take steps towards being a competition to the NVLink slash optics that NVIDIA are so good at. So this is basically a must for the large language models training and scaling. Also, through the annual cadence and through the acquisitions, the annual cadence of new GPUs and the acquisitions they have done, for example, CT Systems and Silo AI, they can get new product out there very fast, and they need to do it because at the moment Nvidia are getting Blackwell out there even before AMD are getting the MI350 out there, which is better than Blackwell in some areas, but not many. And then they have the, as of 2026, the product that are supposed to match Blackwell. So they are 1 year behind still. And they need to be very fast so they can actually release their top tier product at the same time that Nvidia doing it. So Nvidia don't have like always half a year before. So they need to be a bit faster here. So I can see that that is an important part of what they're doing at the moment, getting very fast on the innovation side, like they did with the CPU, which the whole AMD versus Intel story. So basically, this is the last slide I have, and yeah. I'm so glad that you tuned in today and that you watched this presentation, and I hope you are as excited as I am for everything regarding AMD's improvement here and their potential roadmap to compete with Nvidia for real. And I'm positive that they are going to have products that are very competitive with Nvidia, and we will see what that takes them long term. So thank you for tuning in.